From the Podcast Detroit studios and Zoom everywhere else, The Making of Champions. Professional boxers inspiring amateur athletes to become champions. Presented by Joe Louis, champion of them all bourbon, in association with USA Boxing, Golden Gloves of America, and BigFightWeekend.com. Join your hosts, Tanya Cole and Marquise Johns, with special guests from around the world of amateur and pro boxing, celebrating the legacy of Joe Louis, whose status as the first African-American national hero showed the importance of being a leader and a role model inside and outside of the ring.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of The Making of Champions. I'm Tanya Cole, and with me I've got Marquise Johns with Big Fight Weekend. Marquise, who do we have with us today?
Absolutely, Tanya. Thanks for having me on as always. And once again, we are joined back on the program by a man who is currently on a 5-fight win streak, who is in action, I think, tentatively later on this year as well. We are joined once again to the program to Joe Louis podcast, Making of Champions, Cassius Clay Collard. Clay, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking.
Cool, man. Hey, the last time we had you on, you were preparing for your fight against Maurice Williams, which you made quick work of it pretty well in the second round. And one question I have for you about that fight, was there anything that you did preparation-wise beforehand, or was this the same as usual for you?
Just same as usual, man. We just get ready and focus on, what we want to do in the fight, and I just go out there and get it done, so.
Absolutely, and that you did do. I think we even mentioned on the show that we were have you knock this guy out in the second round, and that is exactly what happened in your fight.
6, 7, 8. Come to me.
Ways up, down. You got to keep a guy like that off balance. You have to be physically strong because he's physically strong. And you got to have a pop so to make him respect you, or he's going to do this all night long.
And another thing.
Left hand lands up top, right hand comes in. He's in real trouble, and it's over. TKO victory, Clay Collard.
The one thing I did want to ask you about in terms of that fight, of your show so far in the bubble, is that your favorite stoppage so far, or was it the one against Lamont Nelson?
I mean, they were both about the same. It was, I wish I would have caught him with that one shot that put him down.
Yeah.
But, I got the TKO, and I'm happy about that, so.
Absolutely.
And in fact, they're saying that, Clay Collard can't be stopped. I think you got him in that second round at 1:54. And, I must say that we said it here first on The Making of Champions. So, Marquise, go into the significance of this. Since we're looking at Clay as being the 2020 Fighter of the Year contender, who are the other ones that are sort of like up there in terms of in the running for this award? And how does this put Clay one step closer to that dream?
Absolutely. Clay, you may have heard this before, man. I know you don't, but you may downplay this, but in terms of fighters being active in Fighters of the Year, you're joining conversations as Tyson Fury this weekend if Jelson Rosario wins against Jamel Charlo with an E. A lot, big names, as you well know, just in the general world of boxing. How do you anticipate any of that, or does that bother you at all whatsoever?
No, man. I think my name's starting to become big, so yeah. I think I deserve to be in the running, and if I get a couple more wins, it could be mine. So I'm just focused on my next fight and getting ready and being prepared and coming home with the victory. So.
I know in the last interview you talked a little bit about that you don't do any film studies. Your style's a little bit on the barbarian side, and that you're a very aggressive and tenacious fighter. But outside of your determination and your continuous practice and training, what do you think has brought you to this point?
I mean, I think my coach has a big part to do with that, keeping me focused and, just always pushing me to my limits and always working to better my fight game. So I definitely think that has a big part to play in it, and then just staying focused and staying consistent.
I know one part of your strategy has been to embrace sort of being considered the underdog, and that sort of sets you up as you go into the fights. if you're named Fighter of the Year, how do you think that's going to change your mentality as a fighter, if at all?
If anything, it's going to put more pressure to win, So, I want to rise to the occasion. And so I'm just going to keep working hard, and whether I'm the underdog or not, I'm going to go in there and fight my fight every time. So, all that stuff, you can't let it really affect you. And so I'm just working hard every day and working towards bettering myself. So.
Now, I know at some point you plan on returning to the PFL. And I know you have such a big impact on what's happening in the boxing world in terms of your contribution. Do you still plan to return back to the PFL? And if so, what about boxing?
Yeah, so I am scheduled to start PFL in 2021. I got the rest of this year to get a couple more, big fights in, and, hopefully win that Fighter of the Year. If not, I just want to fight and win belts and beat guys, and I'll have a chance to do that with PFL. So I am excited about that. As far as, if I'm leaving boxing or whatever, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. I could very well come back to boxing and just stick with it. It just depends on how that PFL season goes, So the good thing is I don't have all my eggs in one basket. I have options, and so I'm just excited about being able to fight and hopefully get a couple belts and keep the train rolling. So
yeah. Some are saying that beyond the belts, that you really are re-energizing the sport. And we had a chance to talk to Michelle Rosado last week, who talked a little bit, and maybe Marquise can hop in there some, about how champions are now considered those that can be sort of matched up with sort of the easy fight. A very strong boxer with a quote-unquote underdog. But that's not your approach in terms of the fights that you've taken. And in fact, that you've kind of flipped that paradigm a little bit some. So Marquise, if you want to fill in the gaps for me, you can. And then we'll bounce back to Clay in terms of telling us, what does that mean? Because you've sort of turned that on its head in terms of being matched up with very competitive boxers, but then you're beating them.
Absolutely. And to piggyback what she said as well, Clay, ask a question, just go ahead again. Michelle mentioned in terms of fighters making their way up through the ranks, the big thing that she mentioned was marketing. And one thing that I remember, people talked about you just fighting during the whole year, and you received this label, as just fighting in the ring, these bubble shows, as the prospect killer. So I was wondering, explain the process in your mind, Clay, just how have you been able to use your new fame and your new approach to everything, and pretty much just changing the narrative and of the guy that was supposed to come in just to make these prospects look good to the guy making these prospects hand L's out.
I mean, with me, it's if you want to beat the best, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. So that's the approach I took, and I think it got me noticed. So yeah, I mean, undefeated guys, prospects coming up. I mean, those are the type of dudes I want to beat. Yeah. I don't care that I don't have 8 KOs on my record like some of these guys, but I'm fighting better competition. So I mean, if you want to beat the best, you got to beat the best, and that's the approach I took, and that's what I've been working towards. So
I mean, I know in the article that was recently published, you talked about your relationship with your coach, and it's the article that's named How Clay Collard Found His Inner Cassius. You talk about Coach Alt, and you talked a little bit about how you all met. And the intriguing part of that article is that how you all began your relationship is that Coach Alt, in fact, told you that you weren't that good. So can you tell us a little bit about how you all met, why he says that your bond is why you all win fights together, and a little bit about your journey together?
Yeah, I mean, I ran into Coach at a gym, and I started chit-chatting with him, and I was just really intrigued about all of his fight knowledge, you know. He doesn't think like most fighters. He thinks outside the box. So I asked him to help me. I took a fight on short notice that, you know, he didn't know about or what didn't approve. And, you know, I asked him to help me. And, you know, he told me, you better do everything I say, like everything. So I told him I trust you. Like, let's do this. And, you know, we probably beat a kid that I think we had 7 days to get ready. And I think we beat a kid that, you know, we probably wouldn't have beat, you know, if it were just me. You know, I had Coach there and I had his knowledge. And so, yeah, after that, there was a small break. He moved away. And then, you know, I eventually moved in with him. And that's when he told me, you know, like, you're not as good as you think you can be. That was, you know, he always elaborated, like, you can be there. You can be that, you know, that good. But, you know, you need to tighten up your defense. You need to quicken up your hands. You need to get better feet. You need to, you know, have better footwork. You need to have better accuracy, and you need more strength. And so, you know, it's kind of a humbling and awakening moment. You know, I trusted him and started listening and trying to get stronger and more accurate and faster. And we've just been, you know, keeping at it ever since. So, you know, we're like family. Me and my coach, we've lived together. We eat together. We sleep together, you know. So, I mean, so it's just like, it's a family business for us, you know.
I know that Coach has supported you, but how have you supported Coach?
Man, me and Coach have been through a lot together, from, you know, almost leaving to coming back to, you know, divorces and family issues. And, you know, we just got each other's back regardless of what's going on or what's happening. You know, I'm there for him and he's there for me. So.
Absolutely. And the one thing that Tanya was mentioning about your coaches and whatnot, in terms of being a bond, just explain to me how that bond has changed from where you were from the beginning. Because I know you first started doing this just, you know, as something to do. And I remember we had you on last time. You were talking about how you just did it, you know, just because you get tired of washing cars. Pretty much how much, explain that dynamic to me, how much of importance it really is.
Man, people call us the dynamic duo. It's just what we have works, you know. I mean, in the fight world today, everybody's so, you know, shady and not loyal, you know, especially in the MMA world. They'll, you know, lose a couple fights and leave their coach and go to different gyms. And, you know, there's contracts and people signing things and all that. And me and Coach have never done it that way. I've never signed any contract with him or paper with him. You know, we shook hands and that was our agreement. And you know, we've been through a lot together, and it's just we're the dynamic duo, man. Without me, there's no Coach. Without Coach, there's no me. So it's just, that's how things work, you know. Yeah.
And funny you mentioned dynamic duos, because when people mention dynamic duos, as you well know, you Batman, Robin, Adam and Eve, Simon and Garfunkel. What if you had to put on a scale along those lines? Would you consider Batman and Robin?
You know, I've always been a Superman fan, so you don't really have a sidekick. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
I know that you and Coach refer to one another, at least on Facebook, as brothers.
Yes.
Yeah, we're family, man. You know, it's family. My brothers consider him family. My parents consider him family. You know, his son calls me Uncle Clay. You know, we have no real relation other than me and Coach, and so it's just, yeah, we're family, man. That's what it is.
And speaking of brothers, I know that when we talked to you last, your little brother was with you while you were training for the August 22nd fight. And this is kind of a three-part question. I know with the legacy of Joe Louis and Joe Louis Bourbon, perseverance and sacrifice have been those tenets of what makes him great and what makes him a champion. If you could, just tell us a little bit about your brother. How do you see him as a boxer and a fighter? What lessons do you think that you have imparted on him? And what advice would you give him? Because if I recall correctly, he's getting ready to embark on his own professional boxing and fighting career.
Yeah, so you know, he's was great in the amateurs boxing. You know, he has more amateur accolades than I ever had. You know, Silver Gloves regional champ. I think he was the runner-up at nationals. So, you know, he definitely has the experience. He's still young and growing as a fighter, but you know, I've been through this game a handful of times, and I've made 1,000 mistakes, and I've learned from those mistakes. So, you know, it's nice being able to, you know, have a little direction the second time around with my little brother. You know, we know how we want to go about things. So he's been working hard with me every day, and we've been talking about getting him a fight lined up in November. Might be a mixed martial arts fight.
Okay.
He wants to do boxing as well. So, yeah, I mean, he's been staying busy, and he's coming up, and I mean, he's 6'1", 135.
Okay.
So, yeah, he'll probably fight at 135, 140. So, tall, lanky kid, should be, you know, he's every bit as tough as me. Maybe not quite, but.
What makes you tougher?
You know,
what do you think makes you tougher?
I'm just durable, man. He's kind of a pretty boy.
Okay.
He's
fair
kind of
enough.
skinny, man. I'm just a durable guy, man. But, you know, he's very talented. He takes it very seriously. He's constantly working on his technique, and, you know, coach calls him out. Yeah, when he very first came down here, coach called him out on about 50 things, like right off the bat. Like, you need to stop doing this, start doing this, stop doing this. And you know, so he's been working every day. Here he is right here. So,
Hey, do you think he can come on the show?
Yeah, he'll come on the show one day. We'll get him a couple wins first.
Okay. That sounds good. That sounds good. And what do you think has been your strongest piece of advice to him?
Yeah.
Just staying focused, and being consistent, you know. That's really the biggest part in my career, is just the consistency, you know. I fight often, and yeah, you know, there's always somebody that's going to be a better boxer or move a little better or be a little quicker, but I don't think there's very many people that are better fighters than me, you know. I'm well-rounded, and you know, I've been doing this my whole entire life, so my fight IQ is really, really high, and I don't think people in the boxing world give me credit. You know, they think I'm just this barbarian going out there and just slugging. You know, and that's not. There's a rhyme and a reason to every little thing I do in the fight. So,
what do you want them to give you credit for?
Man, I look good, man. Like,
yeah.
I'm beating guys, man. They're saying, like, oh, you know, his fundamentals, this and that. Like, I'm beating these guys. Like, I think I look pretty good. You know, I'm beating undefeated guys, and I'm only getting better. So. You
are. You said recently, I didn't think that I would blow up this big. I didn't think that I would get this much publicity. I mean, boxing's huge, and it's been around way longer than MMA. So there's a lot of fans in boxing. I didn't realize how much publicity you could get just boxing, just because it wasn't my sport at the time. But now I love it. And what do you think makes you the best boxing story?
I'm doing stuff that nobody else is doing. And we, you know, we picked a different route. We went about the whole thing different. You know, we didn't pad our record. We went after the toughest guys. You know, we fought all the undefeated guys. We're just, I'm different. I'm outside the box, you know?
Okay.
Nobody's doing it like me. Nobody.
Okay. Okay. Now, I know that you have said that you've kind of humbled yourself some and you don't talk as much trash as you used to. So if we could give you like 20 to 30 seconds to talk trash, what would you say?
About this upcoming fight? Well, I won the first fight.
I was going to ask you about that.
I've given myself a nickname. I've been calling myself the O Collector.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've had one shot to collect this guy's O, and I didn't quite. I thought I got it, but a couple judges in his hometown saw it a little different. So I'm gonna go collect his O. Honestly, he's giving me another shot to go collect his O. Like I'm 10 times the fighter I was the first time around. I've fought better competition than he's been fighting. I've fought undefeated guys. I've been fighting way more often. So it's like, and he's gonna jump on and say he won that last fight. He's crazy, man. He's crazy.
In fact, we pick you back up on that. The person that Clay is mentioning on the show, ladies and gentlemen, is he's facing, once I make sure I got his name right, Quincy Lavalius, who you fought last year at the Fillmore in New Orleans. I saw the fight myself, Clay, and I'm going to be honest with you, man. I think you got robbed. So my question to you is this: if you're the key to that fight last go round, because I found there's footage of it on the internet. I found it the other day. The one thing I recognize from that fight that you've done differently from the fights you've done against Kaminsky and Nelson, and even your last one against Williams, is I think you picked up your footwork. Would you say the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, I've been working on my movement altogether. Not just my footwork, but in that last fight, I kept backing up and standing up tall, and he'd throw some ugly overhand. It didn't ever hurt. It was kind of slappy, but it looked good. It looked big, and so then the fans would all ooh and ah, and he never really hurt me or anything like that. But I wasn't moving as well. I wasn't staying low and changing my angles and rolling my shoulders. And so, I mean, like I said, I've improved light years since that last fight. I've fought I don't know how many times, 11 times or something. At least 11. Like
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, I was still figuring out how to get back, how to box again. I've been doing MMA for so long. I think it was like my second or third boxing match. So I'm in the swing of things now. I'm in the groove. So yeah, I got to collect that O, man.
Absolutely. And this is a big piggyback. So are you officially on the fight card for Lomachenko Lopez happening in October?
Yes. Contract signed 17th. Nice.
Because the last time we had you on, we asked you about you wanted to be on a big card. Was Lomachenko Lopez or Wilder Fury? Say this fight goes the way I predict as usual, like you make this quick work like the last few fights you've had. Would you think you'd be able to turn back around and fight on the Wilder Fury card in December?
Man, if they'll let me, man.
Yeah.
I'll fight every other day if it's all right. If I don't get beat up. So that's what I do, man. I'm a fighter.
Yeah.
That was our bet that you would say that. So for this next fight, how many rounds do you think it's going to take you to collect that O?
Yeah.
Man, I'm staying in 4 again, man. I've been staying in 4 these past 2, and I'm hitting hard right now. I'm big. I'm strong. I got to get my weight down a little bit, but I'm gonna keep that size, and I'm hitting hard right now. So,
all right.
Yeah, 4 rounds, baby.
Nice. Got you. I hear that, Marquise. You got that right?
Absolutely. I'm writing it down.
Okay. So Cassius Clay Collard. How can we watch this next fight? How can we follow you?
Yeah, so next fight's on ESPN. I believe they were going to do a pay-per-view, but they didn't because of the whole pandemic and everything. They want to have it to where people can view it. So ESPN Plus, you'll be able to watch the fight. You can follow me on Instagram. That's Cassius_Clay MMA. And then my Twitter's CCC Collard. If you want to follow me and what I'm doing. So
Got it. And Marquise, we know that you were going to give it some more coverage too with Big Fight Weekend. How can we follow you?
Absolutely. You can find my updates and news on this fight as well as others at bigfightweekend.com.
All right. And you'll find me here next week, same time, same place. Joe Louis Bourbon with Podcast Detroit and Big Fight Weekend. Thanks for joining us. Cassius, thank you so much for joining us again today. We really appreciate it.
And thank you guys. It was a pleasure.
As always. Thank you.